For December the 18th, 2015, we talk about a smattering of news stories, a smattering of games, and we ask you how you protect your backlogs from winter sales. Welcome to level 131. My name is Kole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm Jala.
And I'm Ben Merkel.
And you're listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. And this will be the last episode before the Christmas holidays and such.
Woo!
Having cups of cheer, wishing people happy holidays, bringing snowmen to life.
Yeah,
So
these are all things that we're going to be doing over that week.
Yes.
Especially
Die Hard.
Especially the bringing snowmen to life. I think that the magic hat is a MacGuffin, and I think that there is definitely a lot of kind of dark shit in play there.
There's a lot of sacrificed chickens in the background.
Yeah,
the hat is a decoy.
No, just like stuffed right in the middle of them. Like that's what they used as like the starter to get Frosty's balls going.
What they don't tell you is the hat brings anything back to life,
including a person.
But with that context, the snowman seems kind of like a waste.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, no, there's what is it? You put the hat on the snowman, and then what's his name? Michael Keaton comes back and plays blues music to make his kid happy that he died.
That is a dark movie, man.
Yeah.
And then there's the other Jack Frost, where it's the serial killer who comes back and starts killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, before all of that, I was going to say, on the old Frosty cartoon, when I was little, I cried.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you're just like killers and death. And
well, also Michael
sadness.
Keaton. Well, I mean, okay, so Frosty's soul had to come from somewhere. Okay, let's not be Pollyannas here.
There's a finite number of souls in the world.
He's the spirit of
Jack
winter.
Black movie
Something.
with
Isn't that what they called it?
A
Zombie and snowman?
What?
Jack Frost, was that it?
Jack Black for us.
No, yeah.
Was it?
It's
Jack
about
Black?
dangerous road conditions. Yeah.
Ah, there we go.
No. I don't know. Huh. Yeah.
Holiday stuff.
Holiday stuff. Holiday cheer.
Holiday banter.
I don't know. It feels like, here's what it feels like to me. It feels like the time between these recording sessions gets shorter and shorter every week. So I was like, oh, what did I do? Oh no, I went to I had a party, a Christmas party at the conservatory here in town.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Woo,
And
party.
so, yeah, it was an open bar. So I took a cab there, took a cab back,
Nice.
so I could be responsible and drink as much as I could for free.
That sentence has kind of some nice juxtaposition going on there.
I know, right? But it's great because it's this big winding indoor space with a bunch of nature shit inside of it. But I eventually got to the point where I was directing people to the cool birds because there was a cage with some birds in it. So it's like, oh my gosh, guys, check it out! This cockatiel has red cheeks. Look at him go!
I saw that on Vine.
Yep. I couldn't catch it. I couldn't catch the vine, but it was a cockatiel, I think a budgie, and they were dancing and they were moving left and right on their perches in sync. And it was delightful, and nobody was around, and I couldn't get a good shot of it on Vine. So that is forever just a me memory.
But that's okay. I have two little people. I have two little people, and they like to do the same thing. Sometime I'll catch a video, and I will put it on Vine just for you, Kole.
Okay, please do. I like birds. Yeah, so that's been my banter. Can anybody top that? Can anybody top being the guy at the party who directs everybody to the cool birds?
I just like the idea that if you become drunk enough, you turn into a tour guide.
Well, no, I was also directing people to the carnivorous plants. I was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole wall covered in pitcher plants over here.
You can stick your finger in it but not for long.
Yep. Well, not for long, and then you can't take it out, and then forever. Not for long, then forever. Yeah. But yes, I do very much become a tour guide. I'm an information drunk.
The best kind of drunk.
Yeah. Well, is everybody ready to get going into the show?
Do the thing.
Yeah, so we got the usual kind of show for you. A brief, then a multiplayer, and then what is shaping up to probably be a pretty short grind. But yeah, let's get started with the brief, where we talk about things that have happened in the world of video games around us, because we're living in some kind of horrible shelf land with the video games all around us, I guess. Yeah, does anybody have a story that they want to throw in first?
I have a bunch of like small headlines, but none that I really want to devote too much of time to.
Okay.
Kojima left Konami officially?
Yes, that was my story, actually.
Okay. Then I'll let you talk about that if you want to now or later.
Yeah, I'll do it here. There's really not much to say. Konami is denying it, even though which Nikkei is the organization that's reported on this. I cannot read any primary quotes because they are all in Japanese. But the idea is, as of the end of December, December 15th, he has left, and his non-compete is up at the end of December, and he is in talks with Sony, with SCE, to start a new studio.
Oh, wow.
I believe he left at the end of October, and then his non-compete's up in December.
Yes. Huh. So, but yes, right now, the report is that he's officially gone. And so, obviously, there's no news yet of what he has gone on to do or what he will be going on to do. But that is, I don't know. That is a story. Like, everybody was kind of wondering. It would suck because that happens in some of these companies, right? Where one of these guys is just going to be back-roomed.
Yeah. I like the idea that he's denying that he's leaving. And I choose to take the angle out of him going, I can't leave Konami. I am Konami.
Well, no, he's not denying that he's left. He as far as I can tell, he hasn't chimed in. Konami itself is saying, no, he's still here. He's still happy. He's still designing pachinko machines.
Got him trapped.
Yeah, like forever and ever. Yeah.
What's funny
I
about
officially
that?
have no comment on this story.
I know.
Well,
yeah.
What's funny about that is that my friend Conrad, who Dennis knows because we've co-op stuff in like Guild Wars and other stuff with him. He was doing a game jam for Giant Bomb over like last weekend, and he and his team made a game about what will Hideo Kojima do today. And it was just like this little thing where you just go through and it's completely random, but this reminded me of it. Yeah.
So he's out there sipping big gulps on the roof. Yeah. But yeah, that was my story. Like literally nothing except he appears to be free.
It's hanging out in a cardboard box somewhere.
Free. So
Yeah.
what else did you have, Ben?
All right, so I had tiny things. One, which apparently has been a news story for a while, but I just noticed the last week that on the IMDb, J.J. Abrams is given credit for doing a movie for Portal and Half-Life with Valve. And I know they had announced working on a game together a long time ago and possibly a movie, but I guess that finally landed for me this last week. So I don't know if that's news to other people or not, but yeah.
So this is J.J. Abrams and Valve.
Yes. Did I misspeak?
No, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't mishear.
Yeah.
He's a busy man these days.
I know. So I'm looking at the original story, or one of the original stories for this, and it's all the way back in 2013. So perhaps things got delayed with him working on Star Wars. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's handing over directing to Rian Johnson later on. So
yeah, which that'll be interesting, right? I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, I'm super looking forward to that. I'm going to be I need to find a time to go watch that. I'm sure it's sold out all weekend. I didn't care enough to get day one tickets.
I didn't either, and I'm kind of worried now because I know I've got maybe 3 days max before the spoilers just are going to forcibly get to me.
I'm already seeing some, and I can't tell if they're people just being dipshits and making stuff up.
Yeah.
I'm not even that hung up on spoilers in general, but yeah, I'd rather, go in at least not waiting for something to be disproven.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I'll probably be looking for an opportunity to see it somewhere in the first couple of days, but I have no reference for how sold out it's going to be for how long.
Yeah. I wish we had like a reserved seat kind of place, like an Alamo around here.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
But we don't. It's just general seating madness, where anybody can just put their coat on a seat, like we're monsters.
It's like the Wild West out there. The wild Midwest.
Is there anything like I can't imagine like making a movie about of Portal kind of seems like making a movie of Shadow of the Colossus. Taking the interactivity, taking the interactivity away from it kind of takes the teeth out of the story a little bit.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Same thing with Half-Life 2 as well. Yeah, it's like no need to make a movie out of that, I feel. But
no, let's not delude ourselves. GLaDOS could carry a good 2-hour-long movie just watching her do quips.
Maybe. So. Yeah. I don't know, but isn't Half-Life the movie just Children of Men?
Yeah.
Or Half-Life 2 the movie? Yeah.
Maybe more. Do more of a close-up on the police brutality, perhaps. But, yeah. Yeah, and then segueing into that, somebody made an AT-AT in Fallout 4. They built it with the boxes, and that kind of leads into a bunch of... there seem to be a lot of Fallout 4 mods now, or like basically different like tree houses being sprung up from different users. And I'll talk more about that in the grind, but I don't know. That's the thing. And then the last thing... Oh.
Give me reference. When you say from boxes, is that just random debris from the world? Like they use the pick up and move button, or is there like some sort of intentionally stackable, buildable unit in Fallout 4?
Yeah. So you can, in your safe zones, you can break anything apart. You can break it into like the base components, like wood or steel or glass or whatever, and then you can rebuild new items like roofs or walls or whatever, and make like your own base. And so
people made it Minecraft.
Exactly. Yeah. People are using it to do that essentially. So yeah.
Huh. Cool.
And then the last thing is Cloud is in Super Smash Brothers now.
Yes, he is. Yeah, Cloud, like available today to play with because he was announced last month. But they also announced, let's see here, Bayonetta, which that's crazy because we talked about how that couldn't be done because of how crazy sexualized she is. Like they haven't changed her costume at all.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah. And then
we already covered this last week with Pikachu not having on any pants on. So.
That's a Donald Duck problem. And then also they have Corrin coming in from the Fire Emblem, I guess. I don't know. I don't play those games.
There's a small group of people who will be very, very excited.
Oh yeah, and they'll be excited enough for all of us.
Yeah,
and
I'm excited for them.
Yeah, and Ben, you just covered also my backup story, so I was going to talk about that as well. I haven't even played the new Super Smash Brothers, but and that might be one to pick up with some Christmas money. I don't know. For some reason, like their move worked for me. Adding Cloud to the roster like has me intrigued. So, and like a Cloud amiibo would probably be the one to make me get an amiibo.
Are you amiibo-less?
Oh, I have no amiibos.
I feel like someone would have given you one at this point.
Well, we got those amiibos that what was it, Nick sent in?
Oh yeah, those kind of we were just middlemen for those.
Yeah, no, like they just passed by my house and I looked at it, and it's a delicate, very delicate game you play with those, because having one amiibo is fine, right? Hey, here's my amiibo. But 2 amiibos means that there's no end to the amiibos that you can have with you.
It's the Pringles of video game paraphernalia.
Yeah. Except two is popping at that point.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you have to call that shot very carefully.
Yeah, you got to say this is going to be my one. Now, can you do a 1 in 1 out policy? So, like, if you get rid of one, can you pick a new one up, or does that start an endless cycle anyway?
I don't know. I think that I think that you hacked it. I think you got around it.
Amiibos are like souls. There's a finite number that you can have, and
yeah. I'm gonna make mine into to put my Cloud in a snowman and then send him on his way. And by send him on his way, I mean pick him up in the spring.
Yes.
So he doesn't get mowed on. Yeah. Dennis, how about you? You got a story?
I want to go last since mine is in-house business.
Oh, okay. Jala, how about you?
Okay, well, listeners will recognize that I generally like tying my news stories together and calling back the stuff that I've talked about before. A while back, I brought up Saudi Girls Revolution, which is a mobile game in development by New Arab Media. And to update on that, the team is currently putting most of their developmental efforts towards another title that they have that's already out called Nitro Punch. And I haven't seen all that much insofar as like a release date for SGR right yet. However, in checking on that, I did also find an article about female gamers in Saudi Arabia. And given that Saudi women have just this year campaigned and become able to vote, I felt this was a good thing to bring up. G-Con is an all-female convention backed by big gaming brands like Sony, which came about when female gamers were barred from an all-male gaming convention in 2011. The G-Con website is super awesome to go to. It's gcon2015.com. It's drenched in retro-style hot pink graphics, and it's super fun to just go to the site and look at it. But anyway, just like every other con that you've ever seen before, there are tournaments. The site talks about having Call of Duty, FIFA, and Crash Team Racing, and also that they've got cosplay, indie games, and so on. The con founders also encourage girls to enter careers in science and computer programming, though I don't know if it's through panels or partnerships with schools or what exactly. It was just mentioned in the article. What I'm most interested in seeing, though, is what all of these Saudi ladies make and whether we're going to be seeing any of that stuff over here, kind of like with Saudi Girls Revolution, whenever the heck that is actually released. I mean, that one is intended to come over to the West, but like, what about some of these other things? Also, the con opened the same day that the election campaigns began, and unfortunately, of the people that were interviewed at the con, only a handful reported that they registered to vote. It's probably going to be like a slow process to get them involved in the whole voting process. But the fact that the lady gamers over there have their own convention is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it's been going on for 4 years and counting is pretty cool. And that they've got big partnerships like people like Sony going in there. That's also pretty cool. So that's about it. Just commenting about, con going on over there and just interesting to me anyway about what's going to come of that and if there's going to be any of that, stuff that these people are making ever getting over this way a little bit more. So,
did I hear you say Crash Team Racing was one of the games they were playing?
Yep.
Huh. That is such a weird blast from the past. I have lots of love for that game.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, oh, Dennis is going to like that. So.
Well, that's a good game to play.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome to hear that, I'm always a little bit curious about the way other cultures, their relationship with games, to hear that there's an association between women who play games and this kind of really cool suffrage movement. At least cool from what I understand of it. I don't know if there's a downside. I'm sure somebody will fire in and say so and so, but like on its face, it seems pretty neat. This is great.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And just the thing that for me, I was just like, oh, that is really cool, is because I would imagine that it would be hard. At least it's hard for me a lot of times to find other girls that share my same interests. So, it would be doubly hard over there because, I mean, like they could play these games at home with their brothers and sisters or whatever. But then out and about in the world, how do they recognize another gamer, Yeah. But then they get to go and they get to, a lot of them said they look forward to doing cosplay and, just hanging out and talking about the games and playing them and doing a bunch of competitions and things. So that's really neat. And I guess part of it too is just because the fact that came out of it was a positive result that came out of women being barred from an all-male convention. It kind of, lends a further strength to the female voice for the Saudi ladies overall. So, although maybe not very many of them registered to vote this year, I'm kind of guessing from just the way that the founders of the convention appear that they probably will start kind of promoting, hey, you should vote and then go to the con, So
yeah, or tie the con up, have booths set up with registration drives and things like that.
It's like the vote or die campaigns where everyone like went to a huge party, got wasted, and then went and voted, except with video games.
pretty much. So
Yeah,
that's all.
oh, cool. Well, thank you for letting us know about that. I otherwise would not have seen it.
Yeah, totally go look at the site. It's neat.
Yeah. Cool. And then Dennis, you wanted to go last, so I will let you go last.
Yeah, easily the largest news of the year is that title of the year 2015 has arrived for the level. So by the time you guys are hearing this, the link will be up everywhere. So Facebook, Twitter, Slack channel. I'll probably just physically mail it to some people. So you'll be able to take a poll and vote on what your favorite level titles from the past year are. So you'll be able to rank for your favorite all the way through 5, your 5th favorite. And it's out of like a good 50 title. Like we did a lot of episodes this year.
Oh yeah.
Go figure. Those things pile up quickly.
Well, that's because like you couldn't just call off when people like went away because you have an extra host now.
That's exactly what it is. We got way better consistency. I actually don't know if we have more or less titles than last year, but
it's right around the same number.
Yeah. Any time I want to feel happy, I just go back and like read the list of the titles, and it's just such little bursts of joy. So
yeah.
It's hilarious. It's fun. We'd love to hear your thoughts on what the best ones were. So definitely do that. And then I think on the 27th is when we will reveal the results or record the episode where we reveal results. So if you're listening to it now, you've got until the 27th to do it.
Yeah. So go ahead and check that out. You can see it in a link on this episode post at duckfeed.tv/LVL/131. Yeah. And then, the usual social media stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. I allow myself on these polls to go through and vote once myself. I don't disqualify myself.
Well, the way you have it set up is arguably more fair because it does kind of stop a blowout from happening, right? Because of the point system. However, it does put a huge burden on the person voting because they not only have to come up with 5 titles they liked more than the rest, they have to rank them.
Yes, and there are a lot of titles. So we expect you all to have a very, very rigorous explanation for your choices. And I will be following up, and you will be disqualified if you cannot provide accurate reason.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I've got the Excel file all ready to go, and it's looking good. So I'm excited about it. This was a ton of fun last year, and I think it'll be a ton of fun this year as well.
Yay!
The 2015 Toadies.
The 2015 Toadies, yeah. With Ben's face on the Game of the Year award. I'll post that up, the link.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer section. The last one of the year. Where, I know, right? Where we ask you a question and you answer it. So, Dennis, what is the question that we ask the nice people?
Yeah, the question, and thank you to, I'm going to murder this, but Atsisak? I don't think it's meant to be pronounced aloud, but it is a user on the Slack who suggested this question. Thank you very much.
It's Sisak.
It's Sisak.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, let's go with that. So thank you, Sisak. And he asked, as we enter the time of year when winter sales cause game libraries to swell, how do you manage your backlog? Specifically, do you have any tricks for avoiding repurchasing games on different services, and how do you decide what to play next?
Yeah, so this is timely because I think one of the stores just did this, and then Steam is going to be picking up with one. But I'm going to pick up with Ollie, who writes in first saying, I struck upon a great way to get through my backlog. I play them at work. As a teacher, I saw a lot of young lads getting left out, so I started a game club for them. We get together at lunch and play games with everyone taking an active part. Think of it as a LAN version of Twitch. Leads to some fabulous moments. It's been great. As for what to play next, I defer to WAF.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Anything you can do to make people feel, to make especially kids feel like they belong better.
Yeah, no doubt.
That is a good cause.
Anything to get through your backlog too.
I know, right? I'm of the Brian Wade school for the backlog thing, but we're going to get to that soon. But yeah, let's see here. Jala, what does So say?
So says, just gotta play on, playa.
Oh, yeah.
Just play, dummy. You know,
I gotta put my sunglasses on when I say that.
Yeah.
you have to lean back a little bit. That's
Right?
Yeah, you can't say that one's sitting too upright.
I turned on my UV lamp so my transitions would activate.
That's like the light.
None of that happened. Sorry.
That's like the light putting your shades on for you. Ben, what does Steven say?
Steven says, I like finding old episodes of gaming podcasts and listening to what was popular in the past 5 to 7-ish years. Early podcast of Podcast Beyond, Giant Bombcast, or even, you guessed it, The Level, are fun windows into the past where people are excited about things like Resistance, Super Mario Galaxy, or Super Meat Boy again. This gets me in the mood to go back and visit some of these older games that time may have either forgotten or have yet to look back on as classics. But really, who has time to play other games when the Platinum in Demon Souls is so close yet so far away?
Oh gosh, you have to grind those materials to plat that. Like Demon Souls is the worst plat.
Wait, so Demon Souls has literal grinding to get the Platinum Award?
Yes.
Nice.
That's
You have to do crazy shit with different weapon upgrade paths in order to get that. So, oh gosh, Steven, just play Meat Boy. Come on. Says the person.
Meat Boy is less brutal.
Well, Meat Boy's more engaging.
Ah, there you go.
You know, at least in that regard. Oh boy. Here's the headline: Upper Souls community douchebag Kole Ross thinks Meat Boy is better than Demon Souls. Get him.
Come on, internet.
Where's the Super Meat Boy podcast, Cole?
Of course, at the same time, then you have people like me, and I just kind of play back and forth throughout whatever. So now that I've got a Vita, you'll probably hear me talk about like PlayStation 1 games I never played before. So
We do that.
yeah, that's a thing that happens. So
I mean, like these shows are really good. Like that's a good strategy. Like going back and like doing like backlog dives and hearing people get excited, because that's what makes me want to play games, like get games and play them in the first place, is hearing people be excited about them.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dennis.
Yep,
oh, go ahead, Jala.
the network has been cause for a chunk of my backlog to exist. So
Yes. Dennis, what does Alan say?
Yeah, Alan says the crushing backlog is something I know all too well, unfortunately. It's just too easy to stumble upon and buy a 40-hour game in 5 minutes, and there just isn't enough time to play them when purchases stack up. In order to motivate playing through my backlog and avoid duplication, I recently made a Google Sheets list of all my games across different platforms. To motivate me to play them, I've added pie charts showing played, playing, and to-play categories. Oh man, this is getting intense. And when I finish a format of game, GOG games for example, I plan to try my hardest not to give in to more purchases, at least until I've lessened my backlog a bit.
Yeah. So he's basically just recreated the backloggery in a spreadsheet.
Love me some pie charts.
Yeah.
He has so much more control over it this way, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's some limitations, and I'll just throw in with Lionel. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Who says I just use the backloggery website to track them. And like those are cool like database things. I always just feel tempted to make my own database for these things, except I don't know how to do that. Because like,
except with index cards,
I suppose, yeah. But like backloggery doesn't have the thing that would really make me feel more gung ho about using them would be if they added a category for I'm done with this, as opposed to I finished it.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, I'm just writing this one off.
I feel like that was they either added that at some point or were planning to.
It's still not there. I check it every month or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
And they're doing a bunch of development, but they're waiting to get it all done before they push that out, which makes sense to me. But until that point, it's like,
Okay.
Like I dig their format and everything, but yeah, like Alan's home run approach makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jala, what does Sam say?
Sam says, I organize my Steam games by whether it's a game that I complete or if it's something I'm going to play perpetually, with other categories for what I've completed and what I didn't like enough to keep playing. Beyond that, I just play whatever I feel like, because backlogs are for people who don't value their time.
Yeah. Backlog specifically in the notion of I need to play this old thing before I play what I actually want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the yoke you have to get out from under, I think.
Yep.
It's like, because that's what creates guilt.
Yeah. It's also, it's tough to balance though. Like at one point I was excited enough to play this to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, go ahead.
I'm just thinking of Sean Connery saying, Indiana, let it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you kind of want to hold on to that feeling of excitement that you have when you first get the game.
Yeah.
Not admit that it's gone.
That perpetual tag is actually really useful. I use the same thing, except I say ongoing for like Binding of Isaac or like Starbound or something like that, which is like, you know what? It probably like this isn't anything I'm ever going to complete. This is just something I'm going to play as an exercise.
Well,
yeah.
What's funny about that is that one time we were going to play a game and I was just scrolling through to see what we had in common on Steam. And then I was like, hey, Sam, how about we play, I don't know, whatever it was. And then he's like, oh, God, I have it somewhere, but I can't find it in my list because he hadn't put it in his perpetual because he had never played it before. But it was a co-op game, which means now it's fair game.
Yeah.
So
Search, dog, search.
yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, gosh. Ben, what does David say?
David says, indie games I grab once they come out and play in between big games. I want to make sure those smaller teams are getting their sales to stay afloat. I only do one big game at a time and will often wait for others I want to go on sale before grabbing more. I don't really try and manage a backlog, though. I'm playing 4 to 5 non-mobile games at a time and bounce around depending upon my mood.
Yeah, that's the same way to do it.
Yep.
Like, just bounce, man. Bounce. Bounce and live free.
Play on, player.
Dennis, what does Ryan say?
Ryan says, I try to keep a spreadsheet of all the games I own and mark the ones I've started and completed. Unfortunately, I don't do a great job keeping the list updated, and I'm pretty confident I'll never be able to cross games off the list as I collect them, or cross games off the list as fast as when I collect them. Mm-hmm. It's hard to resist a good deal, even when I know I won't have the time for it. Amen, brother.
Yeah.
When it comes to working through the backlog, Steven's right on the money, referencing Steven earlier. Old episodes of gaming podcasts make me excited to revisit games I may have put down or never started in the first place. And when I can't decide what I'm in the mood for, a random number generator chooses for me. Ooh, that's...
Really? If you can't... go ahead.
I like it.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. If I can't decide what I'm in the mood for, I kind of just do something besides play a game.
Yeah, that's me too.
not criticizing. I'm sure that you found some stuff that you forgot, or it's kind of like, well, the RNG told me to do it, so I'm going to go do it. But
you leave it up to the fates.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'll just pick like a random indie game and be like, okay, let me see if this is actually good or if I can uninstall this. Like something I picked up in a bundle and I don't know what it is.
Those bundles.
Like, oh, damn it, it's good and it's like 60 hours long. This is my,
Yeah.
Now I'm stuck on it.
Yeah, those bundles are definitely the death, I think. Like, I don't know that there would have been as much of a backlog problem if bundles weren't a thing. Especially for me, like to the point where I'm kind of considering just going through my through my Steam library and saying, like, making a category that is just like, I got this in a bundle, it came along, I'm not sure who invited it, but it's here now, it's in the party, it's in the mix. I don't want to see it, but I also don't want to completely disavow it. But right. I cannot have this, like,
it's a rider game.
Yeah.
Lost games.
Yeah. Dustin writes in saying, as the picture above suggests, I prefer to collect console games, restore them, print new cover art, and spend a lot of time reflecting on my childhood. And Dustin shares some shots of what appears to be Final Fantasy XII and then Silent Hill 3, both of which are awesome games.
Nice.
Do
those have, is that custom cover art?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the cover for either of those games. So.
Yeah. No, but physical, like it's much easier to keep track of and play physical games because, at least for me personally, I just put them on my mantle. So whenever I'm, looking out my window, I always I see it and it's like, I should probably play Until Dawn someday. Okay. Yeah.
Something along those lines is I have Last of Us and Metal Gear Solid 4 sitting on top of the place where my TV rests. So maybe I can remember, oh, hey, I've got those games. I should probably play them because I do have a PS3 play them, but they still sit there. I will get to them eventually sometime.
Yeah. There was time now. There was
Keep
time.
telling yourself that.
Yeah.
Oh, I will. Like, and the thing is that once I pick them up and like, if I get very excited about them, they will be done very, very quickly. Like when I get excited about a game, it's blown through like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
So,
sure. Jala, what does OMG Amoose say?
Ongamoose. Hi, Ongamoose. Says, I manage my backlog only in the sense that I like to occasionally glance at the ever-increasing number as if it's some sort of RPG stat. More numbers is more good. But for a serious reply, I don't bother managing it at this point. Just collect games I'm interested in when they go on sale for a great price and play when I feel like it. Any form of collating my backlog into various spreadsheets feels like too much work for something which is meant to distract me from work.
Yeah.
Right on, brother.
That's where I landed. Because it sucks.
Yeah.
But like it sucks to like, because building the system is fun. All right, especially if you're of a certain data-driven persuasion, like figuring out how you're going to categorize and tag it and stuff. Maintaining the system is not. And if you were good at following through with stuff, and if you were good at like every time you got something new, doing with it what needed to be done with it, you probably wouldn't have this problem in the first place. So the act of like, you know, the like a backlog in a certain like non-charitable sense is, you know, the video game form of procrastination, right? Like I'll get to it eventually. Okay. And if you were not a procrastinator, I would be much more apt to say like, okay, that system's going to be good. But you know what? You're going to buy something on GOG and that isn't reflected, or you're going to buy something physically and then that's not there. And then all of a sudden you don't trust the system.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing can be all encompassing. I think the other thing that I think makes a backlog or tracking your backlog just feel good is at least you've done something with the game. Like, you know, you're never actually going to play it, but now I've at least done something with it.
Mm-hmm.
You've reminded yourself that you have it.
Yeah. Which
It served a purpose. It's a purpose of being a spot on a list that you're never actually going to play, but you know, it's not nothing.
But I mean,
it's
like
that.
Good.
It's like that thing where you shouldn't tell people what your goals are because then you're less likely to do them.
Yeah,
you shouldn't make a backlog because then you're less likely to beat the games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's also like downloading games is like putting them in a box in the basement, whereas actually buying them and having them is like having them up on a shelf. Like you can swoop over your shelf. I've got this shelf behind me that I can look at and say like, okay, I've got this and this and this and this many of this game and etc. And ooh, this strikes my fancy, so I'm going to put this in. Mm-hmm. And so like making the backlog is like going into the basement and, you know, figuring out what's in those photo albums that grandma left you. Yeah. Let's see here. Ben, what does Brian Wade say?
Brian says, I've given up on trying to manage it.
Yep.
Hey man, you know yourself, we know you. There's no deception here. That's respectable.
For sure. Yeah. No, that you know what, that room of the house that belongs to the backlog now. I'm giving it over.
I just see him opening the door.
Oh,
can't go in there anymore.
Dennis, what does Eric say?
Eric says, Steam will tell me info about when I last launched a game and how long I've played it. It can help for sure with telling me which games I've not given enough attention, but my game playing has been mostly consumed by Bloodborne and Souls for a long time now, thanks to no small part to your other podcast, Kole. Yeah, Kole. But yeah, that is an interesting thought of just kind of being like, maybe an hour isn't enough to give this a fair shake.
Yeah. Yep, you're signed up. You're like embarked, and there's there's some kind of gray area after that first hour, but before the 10th, where you know you can just leave it, and then all of a sudden it's in limbo.
So in the same vein of like the how long to beat and kind of those like pre actually starting a game guides, I wonder if there's a way you could insert into those like if you're not loving it by X point, it's not worth your time. Like at that point, you know, you're not waiting for anything new or huge to be introduced.
Just do it like an existential run P.
So what?
Are you familiar with run P? It's like it's like a website and an app. So like before you go to a movie, if it's especially if it's going to be a long one. Yeah, like this is a service that will give you a spoiler-free way to say like, all right, there are, probably 2 or 3 places where you can safely go to the restroom. And like the app version even tells you like you can set a timer when you get to that.
Here's where the director is getting a little full of himself. So
yeah, and it'll say as soon as they start talking about the antidote, you have 3 minutes to go and take care of your business and come back. It's great. Yeah. But like to actually have like I can't trust like a group full of game players to like agree on what that is, because if somebody said, I don't know, like give up on Final Fantasy 13, if you don't like it, within the first like 5 hours, like no, wait till hour 38, because then it really opens up, and then all of a sudden it starts to be a pissing war about who's the purist.
Yes. Yeah, there's got to be some way to gauge it, but it probably not objectively.
Not objectively, because everybody's tolerance levels are going to be totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be interesting when I get to my grind on that note. But anyway, let's continue the multiplayer.
Or you could do a Cliff Notes of gaming where you can get a version of the game that's just like the highlights.
Oh, yeah, the good part.
Yeah. thegoodpartgames.com.
That's a joke from You Look Nice Today. But let's see here. Is it me? Is it my turn?
I did Eric.
Yes, you did. So now it's my turn. Phil writes in saying, normally I try to avoid buying something on different platforms, but sometimes it can't be helped. That's why I own 3 different versions of Burnout Paradise. As for what to play next, that often depends on the mood I'm in. Sometimes I'll want to do something fast-paced with twitch reflexes, so I'll play some shooters in my log. Other times I'll feel like playing something to zone out. That's where MMOs and loot games come in. And sometimes I just want to wait until friends are playing certain games before I get into them in order to just chill with them.
Yeah. Yes. I would argue 3 copies of Burnout Paradise, not enough.
Yeah, no, Burnout Paradise is fucking great.
Yeah. You don't own that on every system, and I realize it's not out on every system, but if you don't own it on every system, you don't have enough.
Nokia N-Gage, you better have it on there. Yeah. I don't know. So I'm curious, because I don't have this problem about avoiding buying it on multiple kind of services or platforms. Like, is that a thing? Like, anybody on the show here, anybody on the panel, does that bother you?
Sometimes I occasionally will specifically try to buy it on a different platform. Like when I bought Hakuoki originally on iOS, and then I was like, oh, there's a PS3 version that has more to it. I'm going to get that one too. Or say, for example, if it's a original PlayStation game and I want to play it on my Vita now, well, I want to be able to play it on the go. So I'll rebuy it. That's fine. But because I'm not a big console gamer, I've just got like the PlayStation Network stuff, and then I've got like my iDevice and my computer, so it's just kind of a non-issue.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I find it happens to me one of 2 ways, and the first way is just there are bundles that overlap, and I want something else in the bundle, so I buy it again. And then the second way is I'll have it on Steam, and then it's given to me via PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
And especially because PlayStation Plus has a bent towards like random indie stuff, it seems to happen not often, but a good amount of the time.
Yeah. Huh. I mean, like, Ben, I know that you're much more judicious about buying games than I am. Definitely, I won't speak for anybody else, so this probably doesn't bother you as much.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I typically don't like to. I would not want to buy the same game twice, because it seems like a redundancy. I agree with Dennis that sometimes you get it if you happen to buy a lot of like humble bundles, because sometimes it'll crop up more than once. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Like for me, it's just a matter of like, I'll buy it again if it's more advantageous to play it on that system. Sure. But that also leads to me, like, I don't really buy stuff on GOG anymore, because I want to have it in Steam, and usually those sales are so coordinated at kind of like this weird publisher level that it doesn't really like stick out as a real problem. And, but the second copy needs to be much, much cheaper than the first for me to consider it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. I accidentally navigated away from the thing. So
it's Jala.
it is Jala saying Tim. Yeah, there we go.
I got
Jala
all
to
the
10
short
for the win.
Yeah, I got all the short ones this time. The trick is to not worry about it and just play whatever games you want. That's what I'm
Yep.
talking about, Tim. Totally.
Yeah, I've done a real about face on this. Yeah.
Nice. Well, Jolly, you'll be making up for you're having all the short ones in the multiplayer for your.
Yeah.
for the guide.
Yeah.
And then Ben, why don't you round us out with Nathan?
Nathan says, just set it and forget it. Buy all the stuff you know you want to play, as long as it's the cheapest it'll be for a long while, and only if you can afford it. Play what you want for as long as you want. When you want to move on to a new game, you might notice something you bought and forgot. Cheap games become a nice surprise rather than an obligation.
Yep.
I feel so much more at ease after reading that comment.
Hey, just tell me, like, just feel okay. Like, I know that I used to, like, sweat and fret about this, and I guess I'll segue into mine in
Do you
response to that.
still have a stack of note cards?
It's not kept up. I haven't touched that in, like, 2-3 years.
All right.
So,
Like you said, it was fun to make.
yeah, it was, again, it was fun to make. I would never keep it up because, again, if I had that kind of follow through, I would not have the root problem to begin with, you know? But it's like, I don't know, like, I just have to, like, I have to accept that, you know, most of my game playing is done for shows, and you're going to notice I haven't really played, like, I haven't talked an awful lot about different games on this show because most of that is, like, most of my time has been taken up with Bonfireside Chat and Watch Out for Fireballs. I'm too busy playing games to play games.
Yeah.
And so either turn those into obligations for a show so I can feel good about doing it, so I can feel good about playing these and I'm not wasting time, or, you know what, just feel fine saying, you know what, even though I have no reason to beat Grand Theft Auto 5, God damn it, I'm going to beat it because I have it. You know, like it doesn't make any sense to worry about it anymore because I'm not overextending. In fact, I'm buying less games than ever just because I have most of the games I've been interested in, you know, and I'm pretty much caught up. So, you know, as I'm spending less money on that, it's more money for other stuff, you know. Yeah, I just can't worry about it. Like it's not worth it. I'm going to be curious to hear how other people deal with it though.
Sure. Well, I'll jump in for me, which is I think it feels good to complete something. There's just a little bit of completionist in me that just there's a dopamine squirt that happens when I see the end credits. And I like seeing things through for that reason. The problem is that most games are 30 hours too long instead of 30 minutes too long. Mm-hmm. And if the latter were the case, I'd finish everything. It's really hard to kind of gauge how much longer you have to go in a game that you're kind of done with, because it's like if it's just 1 or 2 more hours, I totally want to see it through, but I don't want to slog for too long.
Yeah.
In terms of like I already talked about kind of managing backlog, I put a bunch of stuff into the backloggery. I haven't kept it up, and then you know, really I don't have to worry about duplicating except for PlayStation Plus and various bundles.
Yeah.
What to play next? I don't know. I usually I'm in the mood for a specific type of game, and I'll go along those lines. Or you know, usually I'll have kind of a game in mind that I haven't gotten to. The problem is that it's almost always a game that I don't own yet, so it doesn't help with the backlog.
Yeah.
I was going to say, in talking about this, really, it's like the consoles could totally keep track of all the games you've played and like manage that for you automatically. But yeah, I don't know.
It's the PlayStation Trophy Collection kind of does that for you, because you get a little kind of anytime you play a game, even you get that added to your trophy list, even if it's at 0%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
Ben, how about you? Like, what do you do? Because I think I know that it's really simple.
Well, my console backlog is Metal Gear Solid right now. And so hopefully I will get to that if I ever quote unquote beat Fallout. But I do have a lot of backlog for PC games because I've gotten a lot of bundles over the years. But I think I soon will be able to start taking care of that. So we'll see.
We've known this for a little bit.
Maybe. Yeah, I finally installed an operating system on it this week. So
nice.
Yay!
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
I got to get a modem now before I can download it. So it's always one more hurdle.
Neat. And Jala, how about you?
Short answer is I don't. And the reason why is because I have a collection of various types of media, a big pile of books and comics and movies and games and stuff like that. And I like to have a variety of stuff on hand at any given time, just so I have a bunch of different stuff to pick through to figure out what I want to get into next. So, like I have books that are nonfiction, lots of those, and of varying different subjects, and then some various fiction books and all different kinds of things like that. Same thing applies to games. I have, larger games and old games and new games, indie games, AAA, whatever. And I like to just have stuff available. And what I'm paying for when I'm buying these is access to them, not like, oh God, now I have an unmanageable burden on my shoulders. No, it's not like that. Like
a game is like a child. You have a responsibility to take care of it now.
It's like, no, I just like, I don't ever plan what to play next because I don't know from one minute to the next how I'm gonna, feel about play. Like, I might be like, okay, after work, and then work sucks, and then I'm like, you know what? Never mind. Like that thing I was planning on playing, it's too twitchy. I don't want to deal with it. Let me play something more relaxing or whatever, and that's how it'll go. Where, I might have the great intention to set out and plunge into a big RPG, and then I don't have the emotional energy for it or whatever. So I don't even try to plan it. The only time that ever happens is if it's co-op. You can almost always get me to play a co-op game. So if you co-op something with me, I will play it, and it will be, tried out really quick and then uninstalled if I do not like it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I do actually like the fact that I'm paying for access to these games and I have them on hand, because there are games that I bought because I heard so much about them. Say, for example, Dear Esther. Did not like Dear Esther, but I bounced off of it twice before I finally went through and finished it. And, granted, I never did really get very excited about the game, but I did finish the game, get that experience, feel informed by that experience, so that going forward into other walking simulator type games, I have that as a frame of reference. So, having the ability to reinstall it whenever I feel like it and just playing it. I don't sort my games. I don't do anything with it. I'm just like, nope. So,
yeah. I feel worse about my backlog, the books that I have around that I haven't finished, I think that is the bigger issue for me right now emotionally, but do what you feel like.
What's a book around that you haven't finished?
Now you're going to make him feel guilty.
Yeah, I don't even want to say. I really don't want to say. So, Yep. Womp womp. Well, thank you everybody for responding to that. We're going to be away for a week, like we said. So I hope everybody has a good time. But if you want to watch for when the next prompt is going to go up, go to Facebook.com/TheLevelPodcast to watch for those to drop.
The grind.
Now it is time for the grind, where we talk about the games we've been playing over the past week or so. Who wants to pick up first?
Ben, it's you or me.
Yeah, Ben, go ahead.
I don't mind going. It's It's just basically a Fallout update. So
okay.
I think last week I mentioned that I was right before a major decision in Fallout. I've since made a decision. I saw what the ramification was, and then I loaded my previous save to tie up more loose ends before I initiate that sequence of events. So that's where I'm at that game. I also was able to start a second game without it crashing, and so I started a low int run through just for funsies, because it's typically like the opposite of the character type that I like to play. But I chose the Idiot Savant perk, which is where the lower your intelligence, the more likely you're randomly going to get triple the experience that you would normally get for doing something. But so I did that, and then I made the start of like a tree house, essentially, which is what Fallout is. Basically just playing around with the base creation that I was mentioning before earlier in the episode. the physics are like super loony as far as what you can do with it, though. Like things do not follow gravity at all. So I don't know for sure if you can make a floating structure, but you can make something that's very close to a floating structure with that. So what I did is there's one like hometown you have, which is called Sanctuary. And so at the starting gate, or like the entrance of where that is, I have stairs leading up about 5 levels, and then I just have like a walkway that goes around the entire town that's there. So like very structurally untenable, but it's like nice and peaceful and like, whatever.
This
like,
really does sound like Minecraft. Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, I was somewhat inspired by. I watched a video online where it was somebody made a base where he had all of his power armor that he'd been collecting through the game, and he had it differentiated by different types. And I think it was like a 3-floor building, and he had like vendors who were living on one of the floors selling things. So it was like super involved, and he had like made you can make lights in the game, and you can I think you can even make it so there's like a timer on-off switch. So you can make things like that. But yeah, I don't know. So it was cool.
Nice. I want to go back to the first one. You don't usually save scum, do you?
It depends.
Okay.
When there's moments like that, and like either I want to see what happens going down one path, but don't want to actually go down that path, I'll do something like that. In this case, what happens is, if you continue, you fail a bunch of your quests that you had active.
Yeah.
Because like it cuts it short, essentially.
It's a little bit of like New Vegas, right?
Yeah. And so basically I saved like right before the conversation that I had that triggered that, and then went and started completing those quests because I didn't want to like have failed quest, which is very OCD or whatever. So yeah.
So how often are you going back like that?
This was like the only time that I had to do that this game.
Okay, I was going to say it's already a really long game, and you're kind of doing these branching paths. Your investment would be huge.
Yeah. No, this was literally like, oh, I'm not going to trigger that conversation, so I loaded the game right before I had the conversation and just turned around and walked the other way. So, yeah.
Yeah, and this is a point where it would turn a whole bunch of people hostile to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, permanent decisions are made.
Yes. I'm not going to say mistakes just yet, but yeah. Huh. So. And talk to me about the low end run, because like that's one of the things that I was really worried about with the voice acting. Like, do you sound like a real goofus when you talk when you're low end, or what?
I haven't noticed a difference in like the voice acting at all. However, there is like a really unfortunate sound effect that is made every time it triggers, like the random event triggers or whatever. Whatever.
What's the sound effect?
It's a fart. It's totally a fart.
You can like look it up. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know if it's offensive or not, and I feel like it should be, but I don't know. I might just be
totally a fart.
I don't. Yeah, it's a fart. And then half the time it's silent but deadly, and so you can't even. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's like literally all I've done in the game is I just built like a base. But the thing is you get experience for any building that you make. And so just building like the skeleton of my treehouse or whatever, I've leveled up like 2 times already. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So
that's great.
Huh. Yeah. My goal with this run through is to only use like a melee weapon to like hit other people. Cause like I never do that in any game that I've ever played before. So I'm trying to do a brutish run through. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that sounds really cool. So like you're able to continue playing the game even though you cannot proceed without locking yourself out of stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I'm also playing the other game as well. Like I'm playing both. Yeah.
But this gives you a place to go in the stress of making decisions. Yeah, you're taking an idiot an idiot vacation.
That's right. I'm turning my character's mind off.
Nice. Is that all?
I also played Fallout Shelter. And I played it before on like a friend's iPad, and so I finally got it on my phone just because I hadn't played it by myself in full. It's fine, but it's like super mobile gamey, so I deleted it today. So I had it under a week.
You were so excited about that too when you couldn't play it.
No. It was really fun, like the first couple hours, but you get to a certain point where it's like it's pure grind, like all you're doing is like improving the base so that you're better at playing the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, but there's no meat, there's no there's no long-term goal.
That's a bummer.
Yep. Yeah, I'd played it too for about an hour and a half, and then I was like, you know what? I think I'm done with it. And then that was it.
Yeah, I lost interest. Like, as much as I want to do the management stuff, I'll just play a Kairosoft game. Like, yeah. Huh. So, Dennis, you had nothing, right?
I didn't. I had one interesting thought for Diablo 3, which is we were kind of breezing through everything, so I went back and looked at the difficulty settings, and we cranked it up a notch. But I was really impressed by the difficulty settings, the descriptions they had for like what setting you should be on. Just really thoughtful. Like it was the normal or the lowest difficulty level said, if you're just starting out, be here. The next one up was like, if you have good equipment, go here. The next one up was like, if you have good equipment that's also been optimized with gems, go here, and so on and so forth. So that was just I guess a good level of thought. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but I hadn't seen difficulties described that way before, and that made a lot of sense to me. So.
As opposed to like, hurt me more, hell, blah.
Yeah. Like super awesome difficult mode. You're gonna scream for mercy.
You're a baby.
Yeah.
He said, somehow talking about a 25-year-old game as though it was relevant. Yeah. But I mean, so you're continuing, like you're just playing that pure co-op with Jen.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
That's great.
It's a lot of fun. And I've heard other people say, I think I was talking with Phil about it, that it's kind of really designed around that too. So
yeah, and people on the network. I know that Jeremy, frequent Bonfire Side chat guest and contributor, he plays that co-op as well with his lady. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's the case.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. And Jala, I do not go to you last for any other reason besides the fact that I know you have more to talk about than we do.
Okay, well, I'll start by talking about my usual co-op mentions. This time, I have been playing Transformers War for Cybertron with Sam Bear. So, I love this game, and I've played through it co-op before, but I wanted to do so again, and it went on sale for $5, so Sam got it, and we've been going through it, and we're almost halfway through, but my favorite parts are all involving the Decepticons, which is the first half of the game, so even though we're almost halfway through, I'm not really excited about being almost halfway through, because that means that we're almost to the end of the Decepticon part, and then there will not be a Megatron anymore, and that will be sad. I mean, damn. So, but anyway, we've also been playing Battle Block Theater, and we just started Chapter 5 in that game. So we kind of toggle between the two when we've been able to meet up and play. So, but otherwise, the first thing I'll talk about is one that will probably surprise you, Kole. I played To the Moon, and I didn't like it.
Huh, okay.
Oh, no!
Fight.
All right.
No, that's fine. She can have a different opinion than me.
Nope, you can't have different opinions and be okay with it.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I really thought that I was going to like this game, particularly because I loved A Bird Story, and it's the same people who did that one.
Okay.
But the execution wasn't nearly as artful, and after having played A Bird Story first, I was far less than enchanted with how drudging the pace is at the onset of the game. It's like, I guess it's because it's just a little bit too JRPG-ish and just seemed to draw out with a bunch of crap that didn't have anything really pertinent to the main point, you know? And it's like too much hammy dialogue leading up to the actual important stuff just made me mad. So
no, yeah, the dialogue can be a bit of it can get in the way, I think, of like the really powerful stuff, which is the depiction of the relationship between the two subjects of the game, as opposed to the framing device characters.
Yeah, and then too, after I played through a little bit of the beginning, and then I got to the point where it's like, go talk to the kids, and then the kids want snacks. Go get them snacks. I'm like, screw you kids! Get your own damn snacks! I had no interest whatsoever. I was just so mad. And so knowing that it's a short game, I had less tolerance for fetch quests and banter because I knew it wasn't trying to fill out parts between a long and winding narrative. It was going to be a short game. So they're just like, just get to the point if you're going to get to the point in this game. So, like if I hadn't played, like I said before, if I hadn't played A Bird Story first, I probably would have had a lot more tolerance for how this played out. It's just because Bird was so seamless and engaging throughout the entire story, this one just seemed kind of like a letdown by comparison. And I want to see how the story plays out, so I'm going to leave it installed on my computer and then go back to it later. Yeah. I am playing the 2 Ash beta, and since that's a JRPG, that should boost my tolerance level to go back to the Moon and actually finish that. So, which, by the way, the 2 Ash beta is cool.
Great.
Yeah. So that's one thing. Anything about To the Moon before I continue?
I was going to ask if you had completed it, and
no.
Okay, yeah. So obviously your opinion is not valid, therefore. No, but I mean, like, it sucks that such a short game is kind of like push you away, because the things that made me cry, and that I'm not going to say I'm not going to be disingenuous and say dude missed. We're definitely towards like the last third of the game. But that is no defense. Like, it gets better later is not a valid thing to say about anything aside from life. So,
well, the thing is that like I've said before, I mean, I've bounced off of other games and then gone back and tried them again and then have been fine with it. It might have just been like at that point, I'm like, oh, really? Like I thought this was going to be interesting and engaging, like A Bird Story. Damn you!
Oh, definitely.
I might have just been bitter that day. Like if I go back and play like some PS1 games, then I'll probably have a tolerance. If I go and I keep playing 2 Ash, I'll probably build a tolerance, and then I'll go back to the Moon and go, this was great. I wonder why I hated it last time. I don't really hate it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, just like indifference, and especially like just A Bird Story is so like artful is a great word for it. Like you use there, like the fact that there's no dialogue and the fact that everything is told visually and you still get the relationship even at this kind of low fidelity, like that is for as much as that is kind of a side story in their kind of like magnum opus or whatever, they're working on the second part of To the Moon, which hooray, like I really want that. Like A Bird Story is a weird way to enter it because it does kind of set up an expectation for a different economy of storytelling than you get from To the Moon. Like To the Moon definitely does feel like a bit of a freshman outing in terms of somebody who really, really likes their authorial voice.
Yeah. And see, that's why like I said, I'm leaving it installed. I'll go back and try it again sometime in the future, undisclosed point in the future, and it probably it won't be one of those things that will disappear into the backlog and then be forgotten about. I will get back to it at some point, but I just need to play something else that's kind of like it first. It's kind of like Dear Esther I bounced off of until I played Gone Home, and then I went back to Dear Esther and could tolerate it. So it'll probably be that way with To the Moon, where like I just have to play something else that's kind of like it long enough and get into it enough and like it enough that I will go back and play To the Moon, and then have a higher tolerance level for that. So
yeah, well, I'm sorry I bummed you out. Like I want you.
Well, I was just like, man, this is supposed to be such a good game, and all these people like this game. Why? This is frustrating.
Yeah.
So
I also apologize if I built it up too much.
Oh no! I was super excited.
Yeah,
and
I also conclude that it's all Kole's fault.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on that grenade. That's my nature,
Sure.
No. Like, that's absolutely fine. Like, I was built up because I played A Bird Story and liked it so much and was like, wow, this is magical and fantastic. And then, then I'm like, this is not magical and fantastic. Why? So that's, like I said, I think it's just because of the order in which I played those that came up. I mean, if I had just played To the Moon first, I probably would have been okay with it. But keeping A Bird Story in my brain and then going to the Moon, not advisable.
No, that soundtrack though.
Yeah. But then again, like that same person, did the same, soundtrack type stuff with Bird Story too.
More good music to listen to. to be sad because it makes you remember.
Okay, so moving on. The next one I've got is Shower with Your Dad Simulator.
Tell me about this.
No.
Yes, this was gifted to me by Sam because I bought him Zero Gear, which is a little kart racer indie game that I play with people on Steam, and I buy it for people every time it goes on sale because it's like $1. Shower with Your Dad Simulator was 74 cents. So he bought that for me. As you might guess by the title, I treated this like an episode of Abject Suffering and played half an hour. Okay, so the basic idea of this game is just to match the right kid to the right dad in a short length of time. There are a lot of mini games built around this premise, and their fail conditions are to run out of time or to get the wrong dad too many times in a row. But here's the thing that really kind of blew my mind. I had a dilemma that I didn't expect. And it's not often that a game makes me feel awkward for being a southpaw, but, you know, because I use a mouse with my right hand and I'm somewhat ambidextrous. I don't use special scissors or anything, but the movement controls for this game are all on the arrow keys, and I was having insane amounts of trouble using my right hand for this. And I had to like shuffle over so I could use my left hand, but then it was uncomfortable and felt weird. And I kept on looking for a way to change the key bindings, but I didn't find any. So like the movement controls, like, and it wasn't even just moving, you know, moving per se, like that's fine. Moving when you have to do so within a time limit and do it really fast and responsive with the hand that's not my dominant hand became a problem. So like, you know, like I played, you know, indie JRPGs and things like that, where you have the arrow keys as your movement, but you're not having to, you know, dodge, you know, puddles and stuff and, you know, go within a certain amount of time using those keys. So that became a problem. Now, anyway,
I like how that's the part that makes you feel awkward about the game, though.
No, like all the little 8-bit dongs were not a problem. That's fine. So anyway, so the different modes of the game. You've got Enduro Dad, where you match your chosen son to the correct dad, and then you get to choose what kid you want to be. And I only unlocked a couple of bonus items, which were soap, which just gives you bonus points, I think, and then a straight razor, which causes all the dad's hair to get buzzed off after they appear, making it harder for you to match up the kid to the dad. Then there's also wet floor signs that slow you down, and if you slip in a puddle, you can accidentally fly right into the wrong dad, which happened to me a couple of times. And then later on, right after the dads appear, a shower curtain drops to obscure them so you can't see them afterwards, so you only have like a moment to figure out which one is yours.
You have to go with your dad gut.
Yeah.
And that's not your typical, you know, dad gut that everyone thinks of when
right?
say that.
Well, and the best thing is all the loading screens in between everything have like dad jokes. There's like dumb dad jokes.
Jokes about dads or jokes as though a dad had made them?
Jokes that a dad has said to you or that you are talking about with your dad and going, oh, facepalm, you know? So, all right. Dadathlon, matching a random kid to his dad. Like you get a random kid and you have to match him up to the correct dad. Same bonuses and obstacles. Then there's dad divisions where you have to switch between different kids and grab the matching dad, and they're falling from the top of the screen. And if
dad
one
visions,
gets,
they miss an opportunity.
and when they get to the bottom and you can't grab them, then you get docked points or something because you didn't switch to the right kid and grab the dad. The last mode that I unlocked was Inglorious Bath Dads. And you're flying among the clouds in a bathtub on a quest to save your dad. And your dad and other dads are all flying towards you in bathtubs. And you need to collect 69 of your dad and either dodge or shoot down all the other dads.
Nailed it.
Okay, at this point, Jala, I have to tell you the word dad has lost all meaning to me.
It should.
And not just because of my multitudinous paternity suits. Lori, you ain't got shit on me. Huh.
Oh, man.
What?
Yeah. So there's a bunch. There's two other modes I didn't end up unlocking. And there are some other random mini games. Like there's apparently a bunch of other mini games that kind of pop up as you go through the game. There is one thing that Sam recommended that I look up on YouTube because I didn't get to a chance to unlock it. Go to YouTube and look up Sopico. It's a point and click adventure mini game where you unlock it by catching a randomly falling policeman in the Dad Division game.
Okay.
And you play a beat cop who has to fix the shower. Thing was, the shower was as broken as this city's justice system. And that part is actually pretty funny because you're walking around with nothing on from the waist down, but your shirt, tie, and suspenders are still on.
Are the suspenders just swaying in the breeze?
No, it's not that animated. Okay. But anyway, so it's actually a pretty fun little mindless matching game. It's one of those things where you don't focus on anything in particular on the screen and just allow your peripheral vision to indicate where you need to go.
Yeah.
But again, like I had some problems with the controls, but that's really weird. It was kind of left field, because I don't normally have a problem being left-handed. With anything in games. I mean, the last time I felt really left-handed and like nothing in this world is made for you was back when we used to have a joystick and it was all grooved and stuff, but it was designed for a right hand.
Yeah.
So,
For a north paw.
Yeah.
Huh. So, I mean, did anything about the subject matter did anything about the combination between the subject matter and the play make you feel as awkward as they wanted you to feel? Or was it just the fact that they, like barbarians, still made you use the arrow keys?
No, like I was more uncomfortable about the arrow keys than anything in the game.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever. It's a matching game, and there's lots of like 8-bit dongs everywhere, and showers, and that's about it.
4-bit if they're in the shower.
Right? So.
Well, yeah, no, that's a... Huh. Well, I'll watch for that to go on sale because I can't not own a game called Shower with Your Dad Simulator.
You get an achievement just for opening the game. It's like you open a game
and it just wouldn't happen.
It's like you opened up a game that's called Shower with Your Dad Simulator. What will your friends think?
All your friends saw it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's like. What will your friends think that you opened this game? So.
What else?
I've also played Prune, which is an iOS puzzle game where you essentially tend a bonsai tree and help it grow into the light and blossom. It has a very simple and elegant Zen-like aesthetic and music to match. Mm-hmm. It's $3.99. It's by Joel McDonald, who previously worked as a dev on Wolfenstein and Call of Duty. So the fact that he's making this super cutesy, well, not cutesy, super Zen puzzle game is interesting. Mm-hmm. Anyway, in this game, your tree has a finite amount that it will grow unless it's boosted by, certain growth areas and things like that. So you have to trim it and make sure that it keeps on growing up into the area that you need it to grow to. Mm-hmm. And sometimes parts of the tree become infected by red suns and need to be cut off quickly before the infection spreads. And other times it runs into blackout areas that basically cause the branches to break off. Mm-hmm. And you have to dodge around obstacles and activate new planting areas so you can grow a succession of trees to finish the level. And basically you finish the level by getting enough of the branches into the light that they all blossom. And there is wind that affects how your tree grows and where the branches move. There are levers and blockages that you need to unlock. So, it's got a lot of different aspects to it, and it's got dozens of levels. But a cool thing is that continuing the Zen-like kind of sentiment, if you struggle too much with a given level of the game, it allows you to skip it and move forward so you don't get stuck and get mad.
How do you determine when you've struggled too much?
I think if you die like 2 or 3 times, it'll just like have like a skip forward button. You can just hit it and move on.
Yeah.
So like if you can't grow your tree anymore and you just get stuck, you can just cut the tree down and then grow another one. So, but So yeah, I've been playing that off and on around other things, and it has a nice aesthetic, and it's a nice kind of relaxing game to play when I'm like eating something and kind of want to zone out a little bit.
That's the niche that burger fills for me. Yeah, where you're trying to flip burgers onto a bun. It's fun. Yeah, no, this is a game I've heard about. Like, this popped up in a couple of articles as like the next big thing. In terms of, artsy games to play on iOS. Like, this was touted to be the next Monument Valley, but Monument Valley is inimitable. Huh.
Well, I've seen some articles where they were comparing this, as, okay, well, he drew inspiration from or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
And I think we have time for one more, Jala.
Okay. I have one more to go then. Neko Atsumi. Kitty collection.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Yeah, so this just got its English patch recently, right?
Yeah, it was more recently dropped in English, and I had posted on Slack about it to announce it to all of our various kitty fans, because there's lots of kitty fans on the network. It's available on iOS and Android for free. This is an app where you buy food and toys to put in your yard to attract cats. They come visit you, and you take photos of them if you happen to catch them there. And you keep these in your cat book. Not much to it. It's really cute and low maintenance. The cats leave fish, which is basically your currency, for you as gifts in exchange for the treats you set out.
Yeah.
And people have been spazzing about this game on the internet so hardcore. And I've seen like requisite data mining and optimization tips and tricks. But that kind of totally removes the randomness of it, and therefore any kind of sense of enjoyment, because that's kind of the point, that you like open this up no matter what time of day or night, and you could have a kitty there, and you don't know, it might be a totally different kitty you've never seen. Oh my God. And it's got really cute hand-drawn chibi graphics. So,
So I didn't get a chance to play this before it got translated. Like, this kind of made the rounds like a Idle Thumbs and Video Games Hot Dog, when it was still just in Japanese, and people there were kind of talking about how, not so much translating it, but just the idea that everything was these kind of mysterious words you couldn't understand, kind of lent to that air of randomness and mystery and enjoyment, to where you didn't know quite what you were doing, or if there was any correlation between that and the different kitties that would show up, or even what those kitties were called. But that sense of mystery really made it kind of a different game. Do you know, is there a way to switch this back to all Japanese? Because I would really love to play this in all Japanese, even though I do not read a single word of Japanese.
Well, actually, I think that might have been like an option when you first install it. I don't remember, because basically what happened to me is this. I played it obsessively for several days in succession, and I continued to check it for a little bit over a week, and then I got it out of my system, and I haven't gone back to it since. So, and that also kind of was helped by the fact that I switched phones, and then like they don't have like a game center data saving type of thing. So it's basically per device. Yeah. So I lost whatever was on my old phone. So there's really like not a point for me to go back in there and get all invested all again. But at least not on the iOS. I don't know about Android.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, Neko Atsume is really cute, and it's free. So if you like kitties and cute things, it's probably a good thing. And like I said, Kole, I think it's an option when you first install it. But
so I need to uninstall it and then reinstall it, because I haven't played very far. I don't want to be able to see the name of anything or understand what I'm doing at all. I just want to see cats.
Well, see, that wouldn't have worked for me either. Like, because I studied Japanese for a number of years, so I probably would have read a good chunk of it and been fine and been like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Oh well, you can have that totally blind experience, provided that they allow you to switch language. You might want to go check your options before you uninstall. They might have a way to switch it.
Yeah, I looked for it.
Oh, okay.
Oh well, but I might have missed it. There's nothing saying I'm not dumb. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, cat updates.
Yep. Kitties.
Yeah,
I just did some commissions for actually for a listener of portraits of his and his wife's kitties. So, yep.
Nice. Fucking nice kitty right there. Fans of Trailer Park Boys will like that. I just dropped a quote. Is everybody ready to button it up?
Buttons.
Buttons and zippers.
The credit.
Zip. Yeah, so thank you so much for listening to episode 131 of the Level Podcast. We really appreciate it. Everybody who is celebrating the Christmas holidays, we wish you all the best in the world. If you're not, we still wish you the best. And if you get an opportunity to hang out with friends and stuff, yeah, we wish you the best there too. But also, most of all, dear God, please be safe.
Yes, please do.
Like terrible things happen on the road and elsewhere this time of year, and I want to make a point every year of telling everybody, enjoy the time you have with people, and also just, dear God, watch out for yourself, protect your neck, as it were. So yeah, make sure you vote for the title of the year. The deadline for that right now is the 27th. So as you are, doing your holiday stuff, just pull out your phone and go to, this post, or this episode's post, or the social media, and check that out and vote for your stuff. We want to make sure something good wins. But otherwise, is there anything I'm missing aside from, the usual stuff that most people know about, the Patreon, the Facebook?
The reviews.
Yes, it's been a minute since we've gotten a review. So if you have a moment, go to iTunes and leave us a rating or a review. That helps us more than you could know. It only takes a couple of minutes, and all that it takes is you being willing to use iTunes, which I understand is a lot.
We appreciate your sacrifice.
Yep. Yeah. So if that is all, I have been Kole Ross at Kole Ross on Twitter.
I have been Dennis Furia at DFuria on Twitter.
I am Jala-chan. That is all.
I've been Ben Merkel at Merkelizer on Twitter.
Yeah. And stick around to hear a title. All right, does anybody have a submission?
Yes!
Okay.
Jack Black Frost and Not for Long, Then Forever.
Yeah, there we go.
And The Wild Midwest.
Can you give me context for The Wild Midwest? I forget about that.
We were talking about movie theaters, how you can't pick seats.
Yes.
And I said it was
yeah.
the Wild
Code
West.
over any seat.
There we go. That's pretty good. Huh. Dennis, Ben?
No, I like what I've heard so far.
Okay.
I did not have paper available.
So I had Not Long, Then Forever as well. Taking an idiot vacation. Go with your dad gut. Or dad visions.
I like Not Long Then Forever.
Me too.
That was, yeah, both of us picked up on the same one, so.
Done.
Ben, how do you feel?
I like it.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah. Happy holidays, guys. If
Yeah.
I don't talk to you until later in the year or until the end of the year, enjoy it.
I am positive.
And be safe, dear
Yeah.
God.
Oh, yeah. I am positive that texts will be had.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Good
See you
night.
guys.
Night. Bye.